Hey everyone, welcome back. I've been putting a good number of hours in the new event and I would like to discuss my approach and give some thoughts. I've structured the video in 3 parts, starting with part 1, a fresh start. The Necro event added a fresh start. I think for most people in trade, a fresh start is fun. In SSF, a fresh start adds a lot less excitement in my opinion, and I for one wasn't necessarily looking forward to build up the town again, run my void stones, basically getting everything set up. In SSF, that all takes significantly longer, and because the changes the event brings are relatively minor and hardly related to either town building or running bosses, it feels like a waste to spend all that time. I found a pretty simple solution, however, and that is to ignore it. I know, I'm a genius, that is why you're watching this channel, let's be honest. But in all seriousness, I just removed gold from the loot filter, completely ignored my town the moment my first ship got commandeered, and I decided right there and then I'm not going to bother with it. I'm using a unique weapon, so no rune smithing. I'll farm my gear using the new modifiers, and that's it. I am willingly giving up runes, some currency from shipments and a bunch of tattoos, but I am happy to take that loss. For void stones, I just got 2 and I will likely leave it at that for quite some time. Farming maven fragments or even worse elder and shaper fragments, I'm really not feeling it. I have simply taken a few more map nodes on the Atlas passive tree and map sustain isn't an issue at all. Finally, an advantage I do find is that I can test out another build and do an SSF review on it in a completely fresh environment. This time I chose Toxic Rain Pathfinder, a classic, good at mapping, which is all I'm doing. That video will be out in a bit where I will discuss the build, my progression and the Maxwell guide that I'm following. I have most of the pieces except of course Wilma's Requital. As I said, it's a classic. It's time for part 2, which are the new monsters the Lantern brings. Getting all sorts of monsters which were originally part of the All Flames is a big deal in SSF. You gradually collect breach splinters, tattoos, currency for expedition, Stygian vices from the spires, abyss jewels, tainted currency and many other materials. You can't control the monsters and drag them around to be of higher or lower density in the map like you could in Necropolis, but I found the mechanic to still be quite good and quite interesting. As a result, I haven't specced into Breach, Legion, Expedition, Harvest or something like Ultimatum simply because I'm getting a lot of materials from just running maps. It's quite refreshing actually, and I wish these monsters would just naturally occur in maps like this in the core game. In this event, they do. I appreciate it, and there's no need to spend Atlas points on most League mechanics. Instead, my Atlas is mostly specialized towards the rewards modifiers, but I'm still playing around a bit with that to see what works and what doesn't. I'll share some findings in another video specifically focusing on these Atlas trees most likely. Which brings me to the last part, the rewards. Small self-plug, check the description for Google Docs on all my SSF stuff, account name, POBs, Atlas trees, etc. There's a Discord link in there as well. I have a guild, ThyGuild, feel free to join in-game. And don't forget to subscribe guys. Okay, back to the video. Every hour, the rewards each zone or map provides changes on the hour as well. And of course, you can go online, look at a Discord and figure out which map has the best rewards, run that map, etc. But I'm not playing the game like that. A big reason for me to play solo self-found rather than trade is exactly to not get sucked into what I consider frankly stupid gameplay, where you're every hour checking a website or forum to figure out which map to run. It reminds me of Helltide in Diablo 4, which only had Helltide locations on third-party websites, before the developers decided it was in everyone's best interest to simply show on the map where the Helltides were, including the reward chests. PoE could do something similar. They can just show the rewards per map using Ctrl-Alt on the Atlas. At this point, why not? Hovering over a map with Alt shows the divination cards and Ctrl-Alt shows the lantern modifiers. I would love that actually. It's not gonna happen of course, so I've employed a bit of a different strategy. I am rolling maps like I always am, and some of those maps brick. I used to leverage the Twist of Fate keystone, but now I am simply, after the hour is passed, using those bricked maps to see which mods are available. I have favorited a few maps that I enjoy running, I use the bricked maps to check for the mods, and otherwise I'm simply blasting maps, and it's been a very enjoyable experience. The one thing you can change after you activate a map is the atlas tree, so I'm heavily making use of that, and it's all been very good. I decided pretty much at the start of the event I will be running only maps and would forgo bossing as far as possible. I'm glad I made that decision because everything that is new and exciting is in these map mods, and while at first glance the lantern is deceptively simple, it still adds quite some depth. I think with some specialized atlas trees around the rewards, you're going to have a field day. And you have 3 at your disposal if you don't have to make a bossing or maven or breach tree. I've made a tree, for example, for tormented spirits and harbingers. I have a standard blasting tree with shrines and strongboxes, which is very good for this event as the strongboxes are filled with enemies and rewards from the lantern. And then I'm thinking of making a rogue map boss atlas tree to farm lower tier maps and maybe try to get some uniques. That would be fun as well. Let's draw a conclusion. All in all, this event brings enough excitement to get us to December 6th. I don't really see that many reasons to do more than just mapping within this event, as I've already put hundreds of hours in the regular Settlers League. This is strictly speaking better, of course, but I don't want to grind it out just to get where I am in the regular SSF League, just for some lantern mods. With that being said, I think it is a subtle addition to the game, and it's also a social experiment in many ways conducted by Grinding Gear Games. The FOMO players are complaining on Reddit after missing an hour of divine drops, and that's a great reminder why trade isn't for me anymore. And overall, I think this event yields some very interesting data that GGG is going to put to good use in progressing Path of Exile 1. I think we may see a return of the lantern, and I think it could go core after they have studied the data from this event and see how messed up the economy can get and how to possibly prevent that. I would love to have this in core, no doubt. It's a beautiful system in solo self-found, but clearly somewhat challenging in Trade League. A very simple solution would be to make it completely random every 5 minutes instead of an hour. Then you still have the perks of a nicer price every now and then with broken modifiers, but the economy will be largely intact because people won't be in time to post the map, get maps and run them in such a short time period. Food for thought. I hope you enjoyed the video, guys. It's been a while. I hope you liked this one. Subscribe and like for more PoE guides. Thanks for watching and making it to the end. Love you all. See you soon. Bye bye.